Hello and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred today in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things I personally find intriguing enough for me to bring to you. The source of this information comes from the smart device application On This Day, the icon of which has shown as cutoff prevention at the beginning and end of each episode. The music in the background is art by Wrek and Zookeepers, which I found on the YouTube channel No Copyright Sounds, aka NCS. For links to the app, music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar. Let's get this show rockin' and rollin', shall we? Today is Wednesday, aka Wednesday, May 25th, 2016. In 2012, the Dragon became the first commercial spacecraft to successfully rendezvous with the International Space Station, aka ISS. In 2011, Oprah Winfrey aired her last show, entering her 25-year run of The Oprah Winfrey Show. In 2009, North Korea allegedly tested its second nuclear device. Following this test, Pyongyang also conducted several missile tests, building tensions in the international community. In 2008, NASA's Phoenix landed in the Green Valley region of Mars in order to search for environments suitable for water and microbial life. In 2001, Eric Wiebenmayer, a then 32-year-old resident of Boulder, Colorado, became the first blind person to reach the summit of Mount Everest. In 2000, Israel withdrew its army from Lebanese territory, with the exception of the disputed Sheba Farm Zone, 22 years after its invasion back in 1978. In 1999, the United States House of Representatives released the Cox Report, which detailed the People's Republic of China's nuclear espionage against the U.S. over the prior 2 decades. In 1993, the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia was founded. In 1981, in Riyadh, the Gulf of Cooperation Council was created between Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, aka UAE. In 1979, 6-year-old at the time Ethan Patz vanished from the street just 2 blocks away from his home in New York City, which prompted an international search for the child. This then caused U.S. President Ronald Reagan to designate May 25th as National Missing Children's Day 4 years later in 1983. In 1977, the Chinese government revoked a decade-old ban on William Shakespeare's work, effectively ending the Cultural Revolution, which started back in 1966. Also in 1977, Star Wars was released in theaters. In 1972, HNS Velos, while participating in a NATO exercise, protested against the dictatorship in Greece by anchoring at Fiumicino, Italy, and refused to return home. In 1968, the Gateway Arch in St. Louis was dedicated. In 1963, the Organization of African Unity was established in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. In 1962, the Old Bay Line, the last overnight steamboat service in the United States, went out of business. In 1961, U.S. President John F. Kennedy announced before a special joint session of the Congress his goal to initiate a project to put a man on the moon before the end of the decade, thus creating the Apollo program. In 1953, the first public television station in the U.S. officially began broadcasting as KUHT from the campus of the University of Houston. Also in 1953, the U.S. conducted its first and only nuclear artillery test at the Nevada test site. In 1925, during the Scopes trial, John T. Scopes was indicted for teaching Charles Darwin's theory of evolution in Tennessee. In 1895, the Republic of Formosa was formed with Tang Ching Sung as its president. Also in 1895, the playwright, poet, and novelist Oscar Wilde was convicted of committing acts of gross indecency with other male persons and was sentenced to serve 2 years in prison. Also in 1865, 300 people died when an ordnance depot exploded in Mobile, Alabama. In 1837, the rebels of Lower Canada, aka Quebec, rebelled against the British for governmental reforms. In 1833, the Chilean Constitution of 1833 was promulgated. In 1819, the Argentine Constitution of 1819 was promulgated. In 1810, during the May Revolution, citizens of Buenos Aires expelled Viceroy Baltasar Hidalgo de Cisneros during the May Week, starting the Argentine War of Independence. In 1809, during the Chiquichocó Revolution, a patriot revolt in Chiquichocó, known today as Sucre, against the Spanish Empire, sparked the Latin American Wars of Independence. In 1659, Richard Cromwell resigned as Lord Protector of England following the restoration of the Long Parliament, beginning a second yet brief period of the Republican government called the Commonwealth of England. In 1644, Ming General Wu Sangyoi formed an alliance with the invading Manchus and opened the gates of the Great Wall of China at Shanhaiguan Pass, letting the Manchus through towards the capital, Beijing. And in 240 BC, the first recorded perihelion passage of Halley's Comet occurred. First, John Stewart, 1713. And that concludes the show. Once again, check the underbar for any links you may be interested in. Don't forget to rate 5 thumbs and subscribe. For your dose of past events daily, I am Aoxander, and you are you. Toodles!